Good afternoon, whoever is out there. Two of us sitting here on a foggy day, hoping to bring a little clarity inside. And if you've been with us before, you know we start out with a total relaxation of the body in order to shift the focus from the outside world to the world inside. Which is a world we, in this culture, and most cultures, have lost. And we begin with a thorough relaxation of the body using a metaphor of the body as a vessel containing some sort of liquid filled to the top of the scalp. And as we go through this process, we slowly lower that liquid metaphorically through the body. And that liquid can represent, the level as it comes down, it can represent the ease of tension in all those parts of the body. Almost as though you can see a line dropping as the tension dissipates. And at some point you learn to see that as sensation itself, a sensation moving down the body. And by sensation, it's nothing that we are conceiving or concocting. We're keeping it very simple. The sensations are temperature, air moving across the body, weight, the weight of limbs. For some people who are very sensitive, can feel blood moving through their veins. That's another sensation. Any little nervous tics, any little flash of a little pain even, they're all sensations. We don't have to give them names or designate them, but that's where we're sending our attention in this exercise. So, we begin at the top of the skull. We can begin by becoming aware of any sensations at the top of the skull. For me, I can feel, the hair slightly moving. I become aware of the scalp slightly moving, especially down where it gets flexible in the top of the temples and the forehead. So that's where the attention is. And we have our metaphorical liquid right up there. And we start to lower it. And you can use the breath as a measure. On the out breath, you can drop the level a little bit. Whatever works for you. And as we come down, we start to get toward the top of the ears. And that's the ears themselves, not what's being heard. And you can feel a little sensation around the top of the ears. The movement, slight movement of air will amplify that. Temperature, difference. And then we're coming down and around the whole head, so we're kind of at the back of the head and just about the eyebrows now. And again, a little air movement through the eyebrows. And start maybe feeling a little tension, muscles in the forehead, around the tops of the eyes. Are holding tension there? Just look, there's no judgment involved. To your ability, let that tension go. Relax. On the out breath, down to the middle of the ears and the eyes, and you might even try and look inside and relax behind the eyes. Any muscles that you can sense back there. Toward the center of the ear now, the top of the nape of the neck. Feel the tension easing the top part of the head, and now we're down to the tops of the cheeks, the jaw where it connects in to the head, all those muscles. Many people are naturally tense through the jaw muscles. Just let that go. And see that your attention is really directed inward, and you might be being pulled by little thoughts here and there. But let's maintain the attention here. Don't get into a fight with the mind. You won't win. But just allow the attention to remain where it is. No, don't force it, because then that's resistance and that's the mind. Just allow this relaxation process to continue now. Down the bridge of the nose, the nostrils, the muscles running off the sides of the nose, the top lip muscles, down the jaw, a little bit halfway down. Allow the inside of the mouth to relax. The tongue lying on the bottom of the mouth. The chin, sort of the culmination of the tops of the jaw muscles, chin muscles. Moving around the back, where the spine joins the skull, the top vertebra. And let that go. Tension, it's all tracking with the sensation that's there. We aren't being poetic. We aren't being analytical. We're just using these sensations as an attractor for attention. And often we don't experience just pure sensation because we have memories of all of these things, and we generally associate these things with some sort of a memory, which is a thought process. So if in the process of coming to these sensations and becoming aware of them, you can try and clean up so that you just get down to pure sensation. What's there? Not an interpretation. We use words, so there will be some interpretation, but let's get it really pared down. Simple. Nothing to create a story about. The only thing we're trying to establish is I am here, which I clearly am, but thought has all this other worlds going on, and we're in the process of leaving that behind for just a few minutes. Okay, now we're down to the neck itself. And today we will go down through the chest first and come back and do both arms as one. So we sense the scapula, shoulder muscles, moving down sternum, rib cage. Again, just sensation as purely as we can experience it. The diaphragm, the spine, supporting the weight of the entire upper body. The lungs, the breath moving in and out, another sensation. Organs nestled at the bottom of the rib cage, the top of the pelvis. Stomach, intestines. Sex organs, we'll go down the legs and come back and finish with the arms. You feel the weight on the buttocks that you're sitting. The back of the thighs. Front of the thighs, knees. If you're sitting with your feet flat on the floor, you can feel the weight on the bottoms of your feet. Going to the muscles of the calves, let loose there, the shins, the ankles, the very complex construction of the foot. All those bones and muscles. And let that go. And we'll move back up to the shoulders. And moving down both arms as one. And the shoulder muscles, biceps, muscles along the forearm, elbows. Your hands are resting on your thighs. You can feel the weight of the hands. Feel the fingers curled up or being held straight, whatever they are. So we'll return to the back of the head with our attention, sensation in the back of the head. Take a deep breath, and as you exhale, the liquid has reaccumulated. Let's let it all, this metaphor, run out through the tips of the fingers and the tips of the toes on an exhale. And just notice, as though you were walking by yourself, any differences between now and when you first sat down. Don't try to describe them, just take it in as a picture, a whole picture. And now to go deeper in with both attention and moving into a sensing round where we will be moving through a rotation of the limbs, right arm, right leg, left arm, the entire body. And what we're going to do is allow the right arm, the attention, all of our attention is placed in the right arm and held there by our attention to the sensations in that limb, whatever they may be. We have attention, we have a living limb, blood flowing through it, nerve endings, air moving over it, weight, all those things. Well below the level of thought. And when that limb is as full as we can fill it, we take the breath up to the back of the head and the attention. And we use the limb and the sensation to come back to the basic function, I am. And we breathe this I am into the entire limb. And you can repeat that if you like. Bring the attention back to the back of the head, top of the spine. Gather in that sensation there. And then send the attention down the spine into the right leg, allowing that sensation to become the focus of your attention. Returning the attention to the back of the head, top of the spine. Allowing the knowledge I am to fill the right leg. And you can do that on your out breath, sending I am to fill the right leg. The knowledge is based on that sensation. There is something here I call I. Returning the attention to the top of the spine, the back of the head. I now send that attention to the left leg, allowing the attention to focus on the sensation present in that left leg. Something so simple, something we've possibly never attempted before, and because of that, it doesn't seem simple. But with sufficient repetition, it becomes and can become a quiet place in the midst of whatever. For you to come to. And I bring the attention back to the back of the skull, top of the spine. And fill the left leg on the out breath with the knowledge I am. Bring the attention again back to our home base, the back of the head, the top of the spine. And allow the left arm to have all the attention on the sensation existing in it. We have the weight of the hand resting on the thigh, if that's the case, or hanging by your side. The weight of the entire arm in that case. Air moving around, muscles tensing and loosening, nerve endings, lots of information. Plenty to hold the attention. And return to the back of the head, top of the spine. And fill the left arm with the knowledge I am. top of the spine. I fill the entire body with the knowledge I am and all the sensation in the body. And at home, I would suggest that if you move off into your day, take a few minutes to just sit with this. Register how you feel, how you are at this moment after this practice. Check and see if there's anything beneficial for you in this. One of the main things that is often taught with these kind of practices is try to not draw conclusions, to nail things down. Oh, that was that. Because when we do that to close off an experience, it, package it, put it away. Here we're looking to move into all of these experiences, not name, separate, tag them. All these things, experiences are part of us. And we don't need to change or get rid of any of them, but just to see them moving through. Like the weather of a day. The weather in the morning, it moves through, and I'm just there with it. So this is an experience, I can be there with it. And it might be a pleasant experience, and the initial reaction is, oh, I want to hold on to that. How do I get back there? Well, if I experienced everything from this place, this neutrality, and the reactive mind is not participating, then everything can be acceptable. And if it's not, you'll take care of it how you take care of it. But the more that's acceptable, the more experience that's acceptable for you, the better your life is going to be. Thank you. You're welcome. Thank you, Dawn.
Welcome. Mm. Like the note of inclusivity.
Yeah. It's like the conditioned everyday mind, works on this kind of principle of, oh, there's something new here, and okay, so I've got to throw out this and throw out that in order to make room for this. That's not a very beneficial way to go about it, because basically, if something has to go, there's some kind of tension in that wanting something to go away that really precludes taking in anything new. So the attitude has to be that it's all there and it's all part of this I am. And when you start to be abiding in this more, not so much of a yes-no state, but it's just a state of openness and, I'll use the word emptiness maybe, or spaciousness, another, they're all the same thing, the spaciousness, where there's not the pressure of the mind pushing that things be done. That's the bottom line. From that spaciousness, things that are not needed will fall away on their own. No effort required. They'll just, all of a sudden, you'll wake up one morning and you go, well, I always wake up with a headache. Or I always, and all of a sudden you go, that's gone. Just notice it. If you go into it, you can bring it back. It's really easy. It's so easy it happens all the time. Because we go back to the patterns, And that's what I would call the comfort zone, is those patterns. And even if it's uncomfortable, we all know, you can be in relationships that are very difficult and you don't want to stop them because you think you know them, and they have a comfort. And it's not beneficial. There are a lot of things like that in life. But because we're so wrapped up in the pattern, and we're kind of always looking for a new one. It's so funny, I find that, with things in my life. Oh, is this becoming another pattern? It could, but is it something that's needed? Lots of stuff. The thing is, from the spaciousness, when it becomes a stronger muscle than the conditioning that we operate under all the time, or when it starts to gain strength, you'll see, oh, there's another way to approach this, whatever it is in life.
Mm-hmm. Gives perspective, gives the time and the spaciousness to have a new perspective that you could choose to then weave back into a decision, or not, or establish a new pattern, or not.
Exactly. But you need the space. You need the space. I often think of when I was a kid, there were these little things you get on your keychain, and it was a little box with movable squares, and there was one missing. And so, and if you wanted to get, like if it was an alphabet or all the numbers, and you had to get them in order, you had to move everything through the one space to get the order. Our minds are kind of like that, and they want us to, keep moving things around until we have the right order. If the frame of our conditioning was gone, then all the little pieces would be loose, and we just put them in order all at once without having to move all the little pieces. And that's the thing, we have this concept of ourselves, as this somehow stuck together concrete, all these little pieces, and the only problem is that all the little pieces aren't organized the way we want them. They're all okay, we think, but they're not organized the way we want them. So we spend all this time trying to organize them the way we want them, not realizing that basically that's happening because there's not enough space. We haven't invested in our spaciousness as much as we've invested in our spacelessness, in our condensation, in our contraction. We tend to get contracted, pulled in, small, in how we see things. And again, we make it comfortable. So, yeah.
Tony Robbins talks about the 6 needs, and there's 4 basic needs, and the first 2 are constancy and variety, which seem to be, opposing, right? Yeah, and then there's others, the need for love and connection, the need for significance, and then growth and contribution are the 2 most sustaining needs. Those are the ones that kind of bring us well beyond ourselves. But that, variety and constancy, like they're just super basic. And the more addicted we are to constancy, the less it offers the context for being able to look for novelty, for being able to look for something different and to change those patterns.
Yeah, and it's also, you can get hooked on, I know people, and it was, it's sort of the calling card or of a generation, of the psychedelic age, just try everything, go completely, let it all hang out, let it all be loose, etc., etc. Something can be learned from some people. I think a lot of it has to do with type, there are people who have to have a different meal every evening, and there are some people that, and poorer people who wear, oh, there's broccoli in the rice tonight. Isn't that nice? But it doesn't change that much, so it's, it gets very interesting, The variety for me arises in knowing that the same situation, the same people, depending on my spaciousness, can be experienced completely differently.
Absolutely.
And that is variety. It's like, yeah.
Or energy state.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Sitting and looking out at the landscape, it's the same landscape, but you can experience it entirely differently. In fact, you probably are. But, there's somebody standing next to you saying, oh, isn't that beautiful? And you're going, well, I just noticed this thing over here, and maybe not. I don't know. Don't. The old. The Tao Te Ching. I love that book. Depending on what version you get, but I like a really basic English. Been taken into basic English, and he says in there. Does making one thing beautiful make something else unbeautiful? And so, lots of things to look at in that sense, Lots of things to look at. And it's fun. That's fun to see things differently. Thank you.